I didn't start the year wanting to be strong. I didn't want healing, I didn't want growth, I wanted him back. That was my New Year's resolution. Not whispered, not ironic, not something I said jokingly at a party. I wanted the man who cheated on me, humiliated me, and walked away like I was replaceable. And before you decide what that says about me, let me tell you how I found out. Because it wasn't suspicion. It wasn't intuition. It wasn't me going through his phone like some detective. I walked in on it. I came home early. I still remember the exact moment, the key turning, the door opening, the sound of laughter that didn't belong to me. I remember thinking for half a second that maybe he had friends over, like my brain was desperate to protect me from what my body already knew. And then I saw them. On our couch. The couch we picked out together. His shirt was off. Her hands were on him like they'd been there before. And he looked up at me without panic. That's the part that still messes with me. No scrambling, no guilt, just annoyance, like I'd walked in during the wrong scene of a movie. I asked him what he was doing. My voice didn't shake yet. I think shock keeps you calm like that. He sighed, actually sighed, and said, "This isn't how I wanted you to find out. Not, I'm sorry, not, I messed up. Just, inconvenience." When I asked how long, he said it didn't matter. When I asked if he loved her, he shrugged. When I asked if he loved me, he said, "I care about you, but things change. Things change, like I was expired milk." I left without screaming. I didn't throw anything. I walked out holding my dignity with both hands because it felt like the last thing I had. What hurt more than the cheating was everything that came after. The quiet blame. The questions disguised as concern. Were you distant? Did you let yourself go? Men don't cheat when they're happy. Somehow his betrayal turned into my failure. He moved on fast, publicly, with her. And suddenly I was the bitter ex, the girl who couldn't let go. And I told myself I wouldn't be that girl. But New Year's Eve came, and while everyone else was talking about fresh starts, all I could think about was how unfinished everything felt. How I didn't want a new chapter. I wanted my old life back. That's when I heard about Hades. Not in a dramatic way. Not from a book. From a woman I didn't know in a bathroom I didn't want to be in. She saw me crying and laughed softly like she'd seen it before. She said, "If you're this desperate, you could always ask Hades." I asked her what she meant. She told me like it was common knowledge, that on New Year's Eve at midnight, Hades listens, that mortals can beg for one wish, one, and he always grants it. But he takes a memory tied to love in return. She said it like a joke, like something people say when they're drunk, but something about it lodged itself in my chest. Because when you're desperate, you don't need proof. You need permission. I spent the rest of the night researching. Ancient myths, fragmented stories, contradictions. But one thing stayed consistent. Hades keeps his word. He isn't cruel for sport. He doesn't trick you. He simply collects the cost. At midnight, while fireworks exploded above the city and people kissed and toasted to new beginnings, I went somewhere dark and quiet. Somewhere forgotten. The air changed as I descended. Heavier, colder, like sound itself was swallowed. The underworld wasn't fire and screaming like people imagine. It was vast, endless, quiet. Souls moved slowly, like they were remembering something just out of reach. And then I saw him. Hades wasn't monstrous. He was tall, composed, dressed in dark robes that seemed woven from shadow. His eyes weren't cruel. They were ancient, tired, like he'd seen every version of grief and desire and stopped being surprised by any of it. He spoke my name before I said it. That's when fear finally hit me. I told him what I wanted. I didn't hesitate. I said I wanted the man who left me to love me again. Hades looked at me for a long time. Then he said, "I will grant your wish, but I will take a memory tied to love. Not the one you choose, the one that matters most. I said yes anyway. I didn't ask questions. I didn't bargain. I thought love was something outside of me. I thought I could afford to lose a memory. I woke up on New Year's Day to my phone buzzing. It was him, apologizing, begging, saying he'd made the biggest mistake of his life, that he loved me. Everyone said I won. They said it was fate. We got back together. For a while, it looked like what I wanted. He was attentive, publicly devoted, but something was missing. Compliments didn't warm me. Apologies didn't heal me. I stayed because it made sense, not because it felt right. And then, months later, he cheated again. Different girl, same excuses. This time he cried, he begged, he said he loved me, and I took him back. Not with joy, not with hope, just numb acceptance. That's when I understood. Hades didn't take my memory of him. He took my memory of real love, of loving myself, of knowing my worth, of recognizing when love was safe and mutual and whole. That's why I stayed. That's why I kept accepting less. By the end of the year, the relationship collapsed completely. He left. Again. And this time, there was no heartbreak. Just silence. Hades kept his promise. He gave me what I wanted, and took the only thing that could have saved me. Because the cruelest punishment isn't losing love. It's forgetting what love was supposed to feel like. And here's the part nobody warns you about. The realization doesn't come with relief. There's no dramatic moment where you sit up in bed and go, "Oh my God, I get it now." No empowering music, no glow-up montage. It shows up on a random night when nothing special is happening. I was sitting on the floor of my apartment weeks after he left for the second time, surrounded by boxes I never finished unpacking because part of me still believed he might come back. Again. The place didn't feel lonely. It felt empty. Like someone had taken something important and forgot to replace it with pain. There was no ache, just space. And that's when it hit me. Self-love. That's what Hades took. Not my confidence, not my pride. The instinct. The automatic, knowing that says, you don't have to earn love by bleeding for it. I still knew the words. I could repeat all the quotes, but I couldn't feel them. It was like remembering a song you used to scream in your car and realizing it sounds flat now. That's the real cruelty of the deal. Knowing the truth and being locked out of it. I didn't spiral. I didn't cry dramatically. I just existed. Which somehow felt worse. A few weeks later, I ended up in the bathroom of a bar I didn't even like, staring at my reflection like it might explain what went wrong. That's when she walked in. Another girl. Red eyes. Mascara halfway down her face. That hollow look you only get after something snaps. She went straight to the sink and muttered, "Men ruin everything," like she was talking to the mirror, not me. I laughed before I could stop myself. She looked over and said, "Sorry, I just caught my boyfriend cheating." Of course she did. I asked how. She said she walked in on it. Same couch, same shock, same stupid disbelief that freezes you in place. She asked me what she should do. And I saw myself in her so clearly it almost pissed me off. And here's the messed up part. I couldn't feel self-love for myself anymore, but I could see it perfectly in her. I could see exactly what she deserved even if I couldn't reach it anymore. So I told her the truth. I told her not to beg, not to bargain, not to wish for him back just to prove she mattered. I told her that wanting someone who already chose to leave always costs more than you think. She asked me how I knew. I almost told her about Hades, about the wish, about the memory that got ripped out of me. But instead I said, because loving yourself isn't something you grow into later. It's the thing that stops you from making deals that ruin you. She nodded like she understood, or like she would, eventually. Before she left, she hugged me. Just a quick hug. And for a second, something flickered inside me. Not healing, not self-love, just recognition. I watched her walk out and hoped she'd choose herself while she still could, because I couldn't anymore. Hades never lies. He never takes more than he promises. And now I live with the knowledge, knowing self-love is the strongest love there is, knowing it protects you, knowing it's exactly what I should have wished for. But some lessons don't show up in time to save you. They show up so you can warn the next person before they make the same mistake.